hello. Hey guys. It's Saturday. Some of you are here, some of you are hanging out. My name is Crimsonclad. Hi, thanks for joining me. You were just listening to Greg making stuff, Meadows Makers, probably one of the best shows on the airwaves, and it honestly makes me feel like a piece of shit. Oh my god, chat! Crim! Yay? Crim! Yay! Hi! Legitimately, I'm here! Well, this is delightful. So hey, welcome. Oh my gosh, everybody's just smashing. Crim! Hi! Inertia. Crim? Question mark? Upwards inflection? Hey guys. Well, that's delightful. So yeah, I do the show Cyberbuzz Radio. I'm here every Saturday, and I talk a little bit about crypto. Often about Hive, about stuff that's going on in the social world. I play a bit of synthwave music. We do some like retro future chat. There's always a lot of topics related to the Internet of Things and where we're going and where we've been and that nostalgia value that comes with music and tech and it's a weird formless void of a show. And so anytime Making Stuff has one of these really awesomely researched show, like you should definitely go back and check it out today, talking about air layering plants. And he was talking about, how you can develop your homestead into a business, which is actually largely what your whole show is about, right, Greg? But today specifically talking about, hey, like, why don't you look at creating a nature park? Which, you know what? That almost kind of ties into the retro future topic because we are headed for a world where people living in high density cities don't have the ability to just go outside and experience nature. And that's wild. I never really thought about that. And I know that I'm biased. I live in Canada. I do this show from Canada. And if you've never taken a look at Canada on a map, Crimsonclad, something about that sounds so rude. Hello. Do you have a VR chat avatar? You know what? I don't Making Stuff. I have not hung out in VR chat that much. I do have some stuff that I've done in Somnium Space, and then I've also used obviously the Alt Space VR, but I've actually never tried VR chat, and I know that's really popular, and there are a lot of big parties there, and it's probably something I'm gonna have to start looking into pretty soon. But I've been doing a lot of experimenting with building 3D environments and 3D rendering recently, and part of that is because I want to start carrying that over not only to the Hive blockchain via Deluxe, but also because we're working on creating sort of a custom gallery space for NFT showrooms, so we could talk a little bit about that. But sort of coming back to the whole, oh, thank you, kitty girl. It's been a rough week for everybody, right? Dudeness showed up early. Hot damn. But I did want to kind of take this second to kind of point out, because, with Making Stuff, some of you guys were here for the earlier show. If you haven't been, well, you should come a little earlier if you have time, because it's very entertaining. But he was pointing out that, here's this guy in the city who wants to do, trail running or whatever, or he lives in an area where he wants to do trail running and can't, but he has a huge property full of the forest that he could create trails in to run, and then realize, hey, other people probably want this too. And this is something that I don't think about. So before I got sidetracked, I live in Canada. I live in Vancouver. Now, if you've ever looked at the map of Canada, she a doozy, kid. She thick. There's a lot of Canada. There's a lot of it that we just don't use and we don't touch. And so I'm super, super blessed right now, sitting in my studio where I'm streaming to you guys from. I'm looking directly out a window at the mountains and the trees. And I live pretty close to Vancouver, which is considered one of Canada's world-class cities. Yeah, she thick! Canada, she thick. That's our new tagline. And market Canada that way. But so why I take this for granted is because I do live 20 minutes from downtown Vancouver. It is this bustling, crazy, super modern, beautiful city. But there is... How is Canada formed? Is Canada permanent? I see a couple people are kicking it over on YouTube. Hello. Nobody's watching on the Twitch yet, and I don't think anybody's on the Vim, but I can never tell because I don't have both Vims combined, and I'm actually streaming to 2 Vim channels. So, you know what? Goose eggs there. But, so here's the deal. I can hop on a train called the West Coast Express, and I can just pop on into Vancouver. I can get there in, I think like 40 minutes by train, or in my car, like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, straight downtown. No big deal. But I don't ever think about access to nature. And so for me, I just walk out my door and there's the mountains, there's the river, there's the ocean. I have all of it. Like, here it is. But I think Making Stuff Show kind of got me thinking about this as I was kind of coming into my own. Is this is something that we as a species, depending on where you live, and especially if you are in a place that is, you know, rapidly expanding, that may be a technology hub, that may be a high density city, what's that going to look like? And maybe that's something we talk about today, because let's put it this way, you guys, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're all chatting. I see tons of you in there. This is a great time to kind of ask you guys what you want to talk about. I did put together a couple of different agendas for the show today, and I realized, hi, everybody's joining us. Coin is joining us. I'm going to be visiting him with him next week, talking about Hive at his very, very popular VR crypto meetup. So he can drop a link for that. He's got one tomorrow as well if you want to join. I see lots of people jumping in. If I didn't say hi to you, it's because I'm a fucking douchebag. And I actually got called out on Twitter for being such a foul mouth the other day. And I thought, you know what? Fuckity fuck, shit, fuck. And that's what I thought. So, you know, talking a little bit about our access to nature, I thought maybe we do that a little bit today, because it's going to be weird. It's going to be different. It's going to be interesting. Few of us moving forward, depending on where you are, depending on your goals, you know, depending on how deeply, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Big Tom. I am the mouthpiece of the people. The mouthpiece is something anyhow. You know, depending on what your job is, where your family is, where you live now, your income, you know, what your goals are with crypto. The idea of what the future looks like for some people, and we've talked about it on this show, the design of the future and our ideas of the future, how it's white and gleaming and mechanical and clean and bright and very much like we're going to live inside an Apple commercial. Where does nature go in that view? And so a lot of the time, you know, you see these sort of, you know, either dystopian or retro future or even like positive future. That looks beautiful. Have fun, Coin. Denny. But you know, how does nature fit into that? Big Tom says he got called a back ass country fuck this week. Fair enough. All right. Hey, Marky's here as well. It's good to see you, Marky. We can talk a little bit maybe about, if you're willing, maybe you can hop on later and we can brainstorm a little bit about hackathon stuff, because I know you're sneakily working very hard in the background on that. So we got lots of stuff we can talk about today, but I want to kind of ask you guys where you want to go, and we'll ad lib off that, because you know what? This week, what a fucking year this week has been. Like, holy hot goddamn. What a year this week has been. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if anybody had Twitter starts a civil war on their bingo card. I mean, maybe you had it on 2020. I didn't know we got to recycle our cards for more than one round. I didn't realize that this was like a long haul game. Holy crap. So we can talk about what you guys want to talk about, because obviously that's pretty relevant to Hive and to social media going forward. But maybe you're fucking sick and tired of that shit. And if you are, that's okay. That's no problem. Hey, now we got people starting to tune in on the Vim. And if you're tuning in on the Crim Vim, I haven't got you fully hooked up yet, so you won't show in the numbers and you won't show in the chat. Let me just do some housekeeping while everybody's filtering in and we're talking about the start of the show. Hey, if you want to chat, thank you, Coin. I will see you next week. We'll talk a little more. So if you do want to participate in chat, and you should, because it's fun and often sometimes a complete absolute fucking disaster, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can chat in Discord, you can chat on Twitch, it gets forwarded over here. You can chat on the MSP Waves Vim stream, that comes over here. You can chat on Theta TV, that comes over here. It's fucking magic, kids. It's magic. If you're on YouTube, I fucked it up. Your chat won't be here. So you're going to have to come to the Discord. And if you're on the Crimsonclad Vim stream, I'm a loser and I fucked it up and your chat won't come here. So, you know, checks and balances. Decide what's best for you. So here you go. In chat, you know, Megan Stuff's talking. Can we talk about banning corporal punishment in school? I didn't know that you had that, Justin. That's terrifying. I had no idea that you had that. So, I mean, maybe that sounds fairly depressing. We'll gauge the feel. We'll do a temp check on what that is. Worst DJ ever. That's right. Worst. That's me. So I do have some music to play today as well. We'll ebb and we'll flow, and we'll touch on some topics because, yeah, I mean, Hive and censorship resistant social media is very. How about discrimination in advertising? Wow, you're on a quest today. Possibly, maybe. You know what? We'll get a flow for it. But kind of coming back, making stuff is hoping for an electric Ewok type future. And you know what? That's a really good point, because we did one day, I don't know if some of you might have been here, some of you won't. We had and actually, yes, making stuff, I can talk about that in a second. We had a day where we talked specifically about the design of the future. And we were initially talking about how everything's white and shiny and gleaming, and we can blame Apple and we can blame, the new Star Trek and all this shit. But one of the reasons that this show exists, and one of the reasons we talk about the retro future a lot, is before those sort of widely accepted future designs happened, there was a different future, and we've seen a couple. And you know what? You're absolutely right. Although making stuff, when we talk about that sort of Ewok, crazy forest space future, the timeline of Star Wars, if you want to kind of go from that angle, is actually a very long time ago. It's not really our future. There is a set of books that I would love to know if anybody's read. Probably not, but there's an author called Larry Niven, and he wrote a trilogy about a planet that actually has no planet. It is literally sort of an ecosystem made up entirely of gas. I promise I'm going somewhere with this. And so this is a future take on a world where there is actually no terra firma whatsoever. And everybody lives in low gravity inside this sort of ring of smoke that has coalesced inside this ecosystem. Yeah, just gas. It's all about gas. In our show, we're going to talk about gas. But one of the reasons this has always stuck with me is there's a very fascinating look at a future that very intensely incorporated nature, because when you did not have a planet to build on, all of a sudden you just had animals and creatures and flora floating around in the atmosphere. And the whole kind of story, gas like the ETH fee, maybe I'm gonna try and find you guys some of the art from it, because it's fucking amazing. And that, to me, if I had my druthers, if I could design a future, maybe even a crypto future, a couple thousand years or millennia in the future, to me, that's more what I would think about. And I don't know if this is just a natural human need or what, but the more we get technology working for us and the more money we have, the more I literally just want to cover everything in trees and plants. I want to have spheres of trees just fucking floating around in the atmosphere. I want us to just get rid of all of the crap that we've done to the ground, grow everything, and live floating around in space. It's a totally different aspect of the future. And I remember when I was a little kid, I saw this book on my mom's bookshelf and I thought, holy crap. And the art on the front of it blew my mind. And I remember that being one of my sort of descents into sci-fi. But this is a book that was written in the 80s. So let me see if I can find it, Big Tom. I will find it for you. Uno momento, por favor. So I see Justin asked me to talk about RC credits are fees and abortion is healthcare. So you've got a lot of stuff that you really want to get off your chest today. I don't know that we're going to dive into the deep and heavy stuff today. This show really is, I'm hoping sort of an informative, educational, entertainment kind of place. And you know what? Everybody's taking a bit of a beating this week. So we'll see where people are at before we just go straight into the smortions. If you don't mind. I'm just pulling up the image here, so hang on just a second. I'm going to try and find it. So this is one of the cover artworks. And, this looks like a fantasy novel, but it is actually a high, deep sci-fi novel. And I'm going to try and find the other one. Where is it? And this is actually, so here you go. Everybody lives on this giant sort of ring. in this gas ecosystem, and everything else is taken over by plants and sort of flora, and it's very low G, and you just fly around in the trees. Orbiting this sort of ring world, for better or for worse, and it's quite an interesting and different take on the future. And so, just kind of thinking of this reminds me of overdosing on antihistamines. Yeah, sort of, not really. Oh, goodness gracious me. It's if we'll get off the Crims book club thing. We haven't done this in a while, but it's a very sort of cautionary. We fucked up Earth really, really badly. We abolished religion. We went full capitalism. We had AI take over our entire lives. Does this sound familiar? And it turns out that was it. We just ran out of stuff to do on Earth. So we're like, hey, AI, take us to space. AI figured out how to take us to space, and off we went to go fuck up other people's nice, beautiful ecosystems. So it is it is very, very, very worth a read, this series. Let me see what the name of the actual series is, because I cannot for the life of me remember what the trilogy is called. The Integral Trees is the book that I'm thinking of. What is the sequel? Not the Smoke Ring, Integral Trees, The State. So it's called the State Trilogy. There's 3 books. The Integral Trees is the one that I'm thinking of. That's the artwork that I've got there. But I highly, highly recommend these. The Smoke Ring, the Integral Trees, and what was the last one? But it's all about this ring world. And there's a lot. Yeah, it's not actually called Ring World, but it is about the ring world, Big Tom. So you have read these? Hi. Oh, there's 4 books. Okay, Ringworld first. Fair enough. See, let's put it this way, Big Tom. This is one of the first things that I read out of my mom's collection. My mom is a prolific reader, and has a huge paperback collection from the late 70s, the 80s. And I remember seeing this, and this is one of the ones that really turned on my love of sort of science fiction. And I was quite young when I read these. Like, I'm going to say like probably 7 or 8 years old when I read these the first time. I don't know about you guys, and I don't know if any of you are interested in reading sci-fi, but I definitely was raised, maybe, I was going to say I was raised totally normally, and then I thought about it, maybe I wasn't. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was raised a little differently. But when I look back, I can actually, your cat just got out of the shower. I can't tell if this is code or like a wet ass pussy joke or what's going on. But that's okay. But I can pinpoint sort of a lot of the aesthetics and the books that brought me into the world that now has actually become, very engrossed in this idea of retro future, and honestly actually provided a pretty solid foundation for my interest in crypto. And he likes to snoop around in the wet shower. Okay, so it was bait. That's what it was. It was bait, and I fell for it. But what I can absolutely say, and there was a very specific run. Now, many of you guys have probably read Asimov books. Isaac Asimov is considered the father of robotics, and he had obviously there's the Foundation series, which is neither here nor there. And for many of you guys, maybe your interaction with I, Robot was the Will Smith movie, but Isaac Asimov wrote these books. And for me as a kid, sort of learning about the laws of robotics was very, very interesting when I was so young, because I remember how strongly they made me think about how it's different to be human. And I swear I'm going somewhere with this. Part of it is this is how I got turned on to sci-fi. Part of this is how I got turned on to computers and crypto and whatever. But I remember as a young child reading these books, reading Asimov's work and reading about the laws of robotics and sort of understanding fundamentally because of them what makes me me, what makes me human. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's do this. Asimov's. I didn't expect to go down this road, but that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Um, so there's the 3 laws of robotics. Let me find them. So the first law is a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. The second law is a robot must obey the orders given to it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And the third law is a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. So to me as a kid, this was a very this was such a blatant sort of indicator of humans don't do that. Humans don't work that way. Humans don't follow rules like that. Humans don't give a shit like that. And so for me, that was very formative, but I want to share the art with you guys just because this aesthetic, I think for me, will forever be everything that I think about when I think about the future and when I think about anything to do with computers and technology. So there was, after after the original sort of robot series, there were a ton of sort of standoff anthology books, and they had this incredible, vibrant, pop art minimalist feel. And I remember seeing these on my mom's bookshelf and just being like, man, I cannot wait for the future. So I'm going to drop a bunch in chat. If you're watching on one of the streams, you're not going to see it, and that makes me a giant douchebag, and I apologize. So if you're in the Discord, you're going to see them. But I remember these books capturing my imagination vividly. These, to me, this is what the future looks like. This is what I think of when I think technological advances, when I think of sort of where computers are going and everything else. And there's something about it that straddles the line between that perfect, sterile, white, clean, bright, happy future and that dark, gritty, concrete, dirty, underground, sort of Blade Runner-esque future. And for me, that's kind of what I am hoping to see that we achieve as a species. Because we can't do one or the other. We'll never have that perfect, sterile, white, everyone is the same, homogenous future. As much as maybe it looks like it's trying to be created right now. Like the actions that we're seeing in big tech right now, the actions that we're seeing in politics right now, in the way that people are honestly trying to encourage groupthink. And control. We're never gonna, I hope to God, we're never going to reach that perfect sort of, I don't even know, sterile future. But I also am kind of hoping we don't plunge headlong into dystopian warfare. I mean, that's just me. But I'm also hoping we don't head straight for the shit or the other way. We got to find somewhere in the middle. And yeah, Inertia, that always blows my minds too. I mean, how many of you guys have living grandparents or, older family members who have seen some shit? Can you imagine what this must feel like for them? They've seen the advent of electricity. They've seen the advent of the telephone. They've seen world wars. They have seen the internet, smartphones, all of this stuff. And now they're seeing what's happening around Twitter and big tech and censorship and what is, wild. Fucking wild. It goes to show you, we are living in a crazy, crazy time. So hi to everybody I haven't said hi to who's joined us. I see Dylan is here. Dylan, hello. Gosh, I haven't seen you since forever, since Thailand. Gosh, it's been a year already, more than a year. And I didn't say hi to New Girl. I didn't say hi to lots of you guys. Hello. So there you go. Kitty Girl has a great point. Both of your grandmothers were born in a time where women couldn't vote. Yeah. I mean, wild. I don't want to go down that road because I know people have conflicting opinions on that. But so there's Inertia. I really enjoyed this joke. I know where Inertia's going with the must have been nice. But yeah, so how are you guys, in all honesty, how are you guys feeling this week? As people who have adopted crypto early, as people who are very interested probably in self-sovereignty or, freedom of speech, how are you feeling this week? Do you want to talk about some Hive stuff? I think there's obviously a lot of stuff in play right now. I think there's a lot of things that are really underlining why our choice to get into. How are you feeling right now? And Bleep says wrecked. Oh gosh. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And you know what? I think there are a lot of people who are very passionate, who probably feel that way, who probably feel that way whether or not they're in crypto. I also see there's a lot of people on YouTube now. Hello, I see somebody else is on the Twitch. Wherever you're watching, if you want to chat, please feel free. Just dump it in chat. Except you, YouTube. Except you. You can only chat in Discord. I promise I will fix it. I will. But so here's the deal. And this is going to be an interesting topic going forward because now the whole world is focused on big tech censorship. What is censorship? Where do terms and services, allow action? And, how are the applications of those terms and services in terms of freedom of speech or, your history or your internet engagement? How do those change when you're in a position of power? Now let's stop and think about this for a second because I've seen a lot of this from like yesterday to today even. Keep talking about the nice future. I will, Bleep. I will talk about the nice future. Son of a biscuit. I absolutely will. And I actually thought we might talk a little bit about Hitchhiker's Guide as well. So yeah, 80 million people who lost their Trump fix are just roaming around on Twitter looking for another fix. And I think that's a great point too. And we've talked about that on this show, is that social media is a strange sort of phenomena. It's a newer sort of phenomena. When we talk about what our grandparents or the people who started off as making stuff said, with like a horse and buggy. Think about that. And now you can talk to somebody on the other side of the world who has a completely different worldview, culture, opinion, type of government, money, a completely different understanding of the world. Like just nowhere near anything you have ever contemplated. You can hit them up and just be like, oh, hey, what up? Think about that for a second. And all of the problems that encapsulates. There's some amazing things that come with that, but there's some bad shit that comes with us, and we're starting to see how that works. We're starting to see why it also is a problem. Now, one thing that I have seen a lot of is people are saying, well, you know what? It would have been okay. Everything he said would have been okay if he wasn't the president. I think that's a fair take. And maybe some of you guys will have a different sort of opinion on that. But arguably, there is something to be said for if you're someone that literally no one listens to ever, and you keep saying things that nobody listens to, are you important enough? Yikes. Are you important enough to really be focused on? Yikes. Yikes. What a question. But this to me is sort of at the heart of why many of us believe in decentralized tech, in open source software, in using the ledger to hold on to social data and history. Like, just stop and think about this for a second. We're finally having to ask the question, if you're really important, should you be held to task for your words? Okay. But this is something that regular users, yeah, here's a great point too, Marco, and I think that's something interesting. If you truly, truly do believe that, Donald Trump was spewing hate speech and I guess whatever sort of the maximum interpretation of this was, he sent people to the Capitol to riot. If you truly believe that, Twitter just helped him destroy evidence, which is a fascinating thing too. That's another scary thing. Hey, FB Slow is here. Hello, my man. So I'm really... Justin Harvey says, can we just have duels? Yeah, you know what? I went down a rabbit hole last week of apparently, like, in the aristocracy. Oh, wait. I started talking about Donald Trump and a bunch of people fucking pieced out off of the YouTube. Whoops. It's okay, guys. We won't get stuck on Trump forever. But I went down this rabbit hole the other week, and it turns out that, like, in the aristocracy, genteel ladies constantly had like duels. Like that was their thing. They had like sword fights and duels, and not even like gun duels. Like we're talking way back, like ladies went outside and, you know, stripped off their corsets and poked each other with sticks. And there's a bunch of really cool artwork around this, and I'm just like, you know what? That's what I want to do. I want to start, you know, like walking up to some other nice lady in the street, getting into some sort of disagreement, and deciding, yeah, you know what? Let's go run out in the field topless and poke each other with sticks. That is the noble way to to settle this. But maybe that's what we need again. Maybe that's what we need again. Would you fight Julia? No, never. Julia's a delight. Oh, that's okay. Don't worry. Dylan, Discord, let's quickly kind of throw this out here. Do they need referees? I could help out. So let me just remind you, because some people I know are jumping in for the first time. Some of you haven't been here in a while. Hey, Lax, I didn't see you sneak in. You've probably been here for a while, and I just didn't say hi like a douche. Let me kind of put this out here. Discord is great for chatting. It's great for watching the chat. The sound it's trash. It's honest to God trash. If you want to listen in the Discord, you can. But there are many other better ways to listen. So Dylan is saying he's watching on mspwaves.com. The sound is way better there. You can get an audio feed only, or you can get the full video experience if that's what you want. For a lot of people, it's not what you want. And I'm okay with that too. It's fair. I can't stare at me for a couple hours. So, you know, if you guys can, all the more power to you. So you have lots of options. The high and low quality audio feeds on mspwaves.com are great too. So we'll play with it. But yeah, so coming back to this, I mean, this is a thing that happened, and you get the giggles and the jiggles. Oh yeah, exactly. Okay. So if you're listening if you're listening on the audio feed, you get the giggles. If you're watching on the video feed, then you get the giggles and the jiggles. It's you know, choose your own adventure, folks. But so coming back to this dueling thing, do you believe that if we kind of went back to more one-on-one solutions for solving problems, whether or not they're, you know, like individual violence by proxy, would that be helpful? And, you know, this is a thing that we forget. We do a lot and actually have built world culture around. And if you think that's not true, think about the Olympics. The whole point of the Olympics was to kind of bring people together competitively in a way that did not involve stabbing each other directly in the face. Oh, goodness. Justin Ashby got to level up. I get my first drink of the day. Let's do it. Let's do it. McConnell versus Pelosi. Yeah. But I mean, this has always been a thing. And this is a topic that recurs a lot. Nice try, Swoop. This is a topic that recurs a lot. Both in like retro future aesthetics, so in kind of like Blade Runner-esque aesthetics. Think of things like even Dune, or I'm trying to think of other sort of like retro future sci-fi aesthetics. The idea that we no longer have large scale conflict. We kind of proxy everything down to personal conflict, and that was the idea that, you know, you take the war out of it, you get a couple people in a room and you settle it. Big Tom says he's had a lot of fist fights in his career. Yeah, fair enough. Me too. I've settled in my old age. And his student says, let's do the purge. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, but I feel like there's always sort of these, yes, inertia, the classic Star Trek. There's always a Star Trek reference. But, you know, let's take Star Trek for a second. You know, let's just say for 1 minute that, you know, crypto adoption takes off right now. You know, let's kind of remove Hive from the equation just for a second. Remove Hive from the equation. We'll just focus on something like Bitcoin. Truly straight up money. That's it. It's meant to be a store of value. It's meant to be a monetary sort of system. Let's just focus on this for a second. And don't come for me because I'm not, this is not saying you should only have Bitcoin. This is a thought exercise, you fucks. So let's say Bitcoin takes off. Everybody's got sats. You know what? Banks, you don't need them anymore. That's easy. Hive removes itself. Apply directly to the forehead. So you have the future. Crypto right here, right now, everything kind of, this is the TSN turning point right now, today, right now. Biden and whoever get in office, there's unchecked spending and stimulus, whatever the case may be. Bitcoin takes off. Crypto adoption out of control. And all of a sudden, everybody is transacting in sats. They don't need a bank anymore. There is no real governmental access to it. Everybody's spinning up a Bitcoin node on a Raspberry Pi. They're connecting via mesh networks. Like, let's just say the future escalates so fucking quickly. Now, that's a Star Trek kind of future where everybody's just using the same currency. Everybody's doing what they need to. And then they just stop fighting. Now, that part's the big sort of, mental adjustment and the mental leap that we're going to take here. But let's just say for a second, Earth stops fighting and everybody kind of, a credit system, which I know is very scary for a lot of people in here when we talk about credit systems. But everybody's doing it. The banks are no longer, nice try, Ron. Jesus, it's not even your face. It's not even your avatar, Ron. Jesus. But that's sort of what we have stepped towards, the future, the path that we are moving towards. One of the craziest, strangest, weirdest things to come out of this last week is that people who never cared, were interested, thought about monetary policy, thought about money, thought about why banks might be dangerous to them, thought about why their government might actually be harming them financially. A lot of these people are suddenly going, ooh, I heard about this crypto thing. Ooh, I better check out this crypto thing. And it's going to push us a little bit in the Star Trek future direction. Maybe we can hope for the TNG era Star Trek versus the new reboot Star Treks. But you know what I mean? Like, I think this next little bit is going to be really fascinating, especially in the crypto space. I think there are going to be some nudges. What did you drink, Crim? Knob Creek. I'm not saying you should give me a sponsorship, but I drink a lot of Knob Creek. It's fucking delicious. It's absolutely beautiful. I actually normally, when I'm sipping it, I don't bring the bottle up here because I don't hate myself. Knob Creek has a 12-year aged, and it's so delicious. And I will never just swig that on camera, because when I take shots, because you guys are leveling up in chat, I don't, I'm not going to say I enjoy it. It's not how I enjoy my bourbon, but for you, I will do anything. So, I think this is going to be a really interesting time for us because we talk about the retro future so often, because we talk about, crypto and tech and VR and AR and robotics and all this stuff. When we have a bull run, that's one thing. But when we have a bull run where all of the sudden, Fox, I'd have to try to do that. I don't know if I could hide the entire bourbon bottle in here, but I could try. All of a sudden, you don't just have a bull run. You have a bull run that was already started, arguably. And it was started because there's a lot of money printing going on in the US. But all of a sudden, it was hammered home with some pretty crazy shit going on in the US political systems. Bryan Adams, yeah. Oh, Bryan Adams, yeah. He's out here somewhere. He lives around here somewhere. If I go down the river just a ways from where I am, where my gun club is, if I take my kayak out and I go down the river, I actually can paddle past Sarah McLachlan's house. Nobody cares about this. And most people from the US probably don't know who Sarah McLachlan is, and you probably don't care. But she is the lady, when you see those commercials with really sad dogs and cats, and there's that track in the background that's like, I will remember you. That's Sarah McLachlan. That's the sad, pet music. That's her. I don't know. A bunch of rich people live over on the river down there. the filth like me float past in the kayak. 245s. Yeah, maybe. No, I don't. I usually just shoot 9mm because that's manageable for me and my teeny tiny wrists. So, okay, hey, welcome. We're almost through an hour of Cyberbuzz Radio. It's really cool that so many of you come to hang out today. It's not a great... Oh, gross. Fair enough. Gross. Cool. Yeah. It's my favorite. We were talking about this on Thursday night. I've been getting some really fun messages recently. You know, there's a lot of like, stop doing your shows and whatever else. And then also, I was telling people on Thursday night, the one I got is I changed my camera a little bit and somebody was like, oh, your teeth look really yellow now. It's a delight. Every day streaming, every fucking day in streaming is a goddamn adventure. It's a goddamn adventure. But let's do the sort of station identification here. So my name is Crimsonclad. On Saturdays, this show normally, it started off as a Q&A, often about Hive. It was explaining, hey, here's a cool, really sort of underrated, unknown, really kind of confusing crypto, and I'm going to explain to you everything I've learned about it that you want to know, and you're going to ask me questions, and I'm going to learn more, and together we're going to conquer this super cool tool that we have. And over the years, we've done that. We've done it great. And so the show has actually kind of evolved since then. So we talk a lot about, the stuff we've talked about today, and I'm trying to keep it light today because I think no matter how you feel about what's going on, there's a lot of sort of heaviness in the world right now. And for everybody sometimes come and hang out with me on the stream, I hope is a bit of a break for you. So we will play a little bit of synthwave music. We will keep chatting. For those of you who haven't said anything yet, I'm just going to assume that the things that we're talking about are interesting to you. And if you hadn't said anything, then you don't get to bitch. But for the first hour, we've kind of been talking a little bit about different types of futures and sort of the visions of the future that we got back in the 80s or got back in the 90s, or the things that popular culture of books and music and television, the way that they showed the future. Are we on that path? Is crypto gonna take us down that path? What path are we on right now? And so, yeah, we've had a lot of fun. And yeah, Swoop, I don't know if you were here when I was first talking about sci-fi aesthetics. I think you probably were, because I think you came at the tail end of me. That's about it, making stuff right there. I mean, for me, my vision of the future was shaped incredibly early. And when you're a kid, you are a malleable little fucking sponge. And so that just, for me, no matter what I see, more cool takes on it, every kind of different view of the future, what I sort of saw and encapsulated as a kid, being a child of sort of like the mid 80s, that for me is always going to be my ideal. It's always going to be the thing that drives me. And so, you know, I'm always going to be hoping for the good version of the future. Now, with all that being said, you're listening with zero talking. That's fine, Antonio. Yeah, we probably won't play Quiplash today, but it doesn't matter. If you're listening and I'm keeping you entertained, that counts for something. Now, we can go over some of the Hive stuff, and we can talk a little bit more about how do we solve some of these problems that come with free speech but not freedom of consequence. We can do that if you want. Or we can skip it. It really kind of comes down to what you want. There has been a pretty, look at this. That's a tasty screen capture. If you're in the Discord, Marky's just showing a sort of portfolio search here. You got Bitcoin is up, ETH is up, Litecoin is up, Bitcoin Cash is up, Hive is up, Steam is up, Steam Back dollars are up, Sia Coin is up, EOS is up, Bitcoin Private is up. What the fuck's a Ren? I don't know. That's up. It is a green day, which means we're going to probably have that good old red roller coaster coming pretty soon. But it's certainly, right now pretty indicative that people are opening their eyes to the fact that something is incredibly wrong with monetary policy. But I will say, one of the things that we have to remember is it's not always that. We want it to be that, but it's not always that. You know, where people are, Ren is the only token that made you 29 times. Well, then All right. All right, Marky. Then Ren is great. Big Tom says, come on, I did the under your desk nuclear prep test in school. Yeah. You know, that's a cool topic that we could go down. And some of you guys will know this and some of you guys won't. Some of you guys, your exposure to this will be the Fallout franchise of video games. But there was a period, absolutely, especially kind of coming like the 50s were kind of the heyday. The 50s were this time where nuclear and atomic powered everything was the future. And there was this fascinating idea. And the vibrancy and the imagery of the future from the 50s was exactly the 50s. Big cars, you know, big houses, big everything, avocado green fridges. But it was all powered by magical nuclear atomic sort of things. And so, you know, Fallout obviously has made a very good use of that aesthetic. And there's some other games out there. Atomic Heart is another one. Actually, basically all of sort of the Stalker series and things like that. And BioShock and System Shock and all of those have aspects of that. But certainly that's not a new thing. That's not video games are creating this idea of a really retro future. This was the thing that was happening in the 50s is this glimmering, shining, beautiful future would be exactly as now, except powered by nuclear. It would be atomic. What do you think of the idea that right now, our future is exactly the same as right now, except powered by crypto, powered by blockchain? So the aesthetics don't change. We won't magically somehow be wearing sheets of clear acetate wrapped around our head, and our clothing won't all be made of like Dayglow plastic, or we won't all be walking down shiny white hallways in perfect crisp white, you know, pressed, you know, copies of the exact same outfit. It's literally just today, but everything is powered by blockchain. That's but we will have the stainless steel rockets. Yes, we will, Inertia. And that's actually something too that if you guys are interested in, because we have done some kind of spacey shows on here. And we've talked a little bit about some of the SpaceX kind of stuff and some of that kind of exciting shit. That my best friend and I are gonna probably do at least one full SpaceX show on a Saturday where we're all gonna talk about space. If you want. Because there's some cool stuff. I believe they did a launch on Friday this week. There was a test launch on Friday. Things went pretty well. So we should be seeing another big SpaceX thing going on right now. But so, yeah, I mean, everybody's kind of talking about, you know, atomic, everybody thought atomic would be the future. Atomic lawnmowers, atomic cars, like nuclear everything. Absolutely. Totally. And it was a cool aesthetic. Do you think that, you know, in the future, people are going to kind of look back? Oh, Thursday. Thank you. Yeah, there's another Falcon 9 success. We're on slightly different time zones, right, Big Tom? I don't know. You seem to be always really much earlier than me. So maybe that's just you. Static Fire test on SN9, potential belly flop tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see how she goes. But so we probably will do a fully SpaceX show at some point. And we'll probably still talk about future design again, because that's something that we're starting to just sort of internalize, right? When you look at the inside of any of the SpaceX rockets, it's different. It's totally different. Gone are all of the little fucking knobs and switches and bips and bops and all these little things. And now you've got sleek touch screens and like much more fitted outfits, and you've got much more ergonomic, cool chairs, and the outside has got this kind of like brutalist design. It's interesting. We're starting to see that shaping of design through future, you know, coming again. Atomic Orgasm is the name of my next band. Yeah, cool. I get kickbacks if you sell merch, because whoever thought of it in here was in my show. Oh, Lord. But so imagine for a second, right now, the aesthetics of right now. if 30 years, 40 years into the future, Kitty Girl wants to push the red button. Imagine if like 30 years, 40 years into the future from now, when we are definitely in the future, if everything ends up, their aspect of kind of like looking back now will be exactly what we are. This kind of boring mishmash of, you know, what we consider normal. That becomes everybody's idea of what the future might look like. This, but with blockchain. Blockchain's intangible, just like the idea of atomic was. I think it'll be really fascinating, I have to say. And I'm very excited. We're technically in the future now. Also now. And we're in the future now. Yeah, I know, Marky, it's true. Oh, Lord. I think it's interesting, and I think this next period is going to be so crucial for crypto and blockchain adoption and sort of which of those futures we head to. Obviously, many people in here subscribe to either the simulation theory or the obvious infinite universes theory. However you believe things are going to go, however you think things are going to go, everything that happens in, well, always, but let's just say right now, we are in a time of history where everything that happens is going to kind of push us towards one future or the other. Now, do remember that 2021 is when Mad Max is supposed to be happening. So there is a chance that in the next 12 months, the entire planet will dry out and we will all start wearing bondage gear because that is the only, those are the only stores that remain unlooted going forward. There is always that possibility. And then there's obviously the other possibility, like say the Blade Runner-esque possibility, where everything is pouring and drizzling all the time, and everybody lives in teeny tiny itty bit. My leather is ready. You know, everybody's living in teeny tiny concrete stacked blocks, and everything is like a Neo Tokyo, and you know, the atmosphere is fucked up and wrecked, and yeah, or you know, go completely to the other end of the spectrum where we're gonna have Waterworld where everything is melted and everybody is just a fucking pirate. There are a lot of different takes on the future for sure. Fox is saying Elysium. Yeah, Elysium probably would be closer to my kind of future. Beautiful plants and trees and whatever. I want a Mass Effect Citadel future, so I can endorse every shop on the Citadel. Marky's practicing his ARG to be a pirate. So, listen, whatever future you're rooting for, it's gonna be set. It's gonna be set probably in the next little bit, for sure. For sure. And I've enjoyed talking about this. So there you go. We've actually blown through an entire hour without touching on any of the things that I anticipated we would talk about. And we'll just still do what you guys want to do. In the second half of the show, we can move on. We can talk a little bit about Hive stuff if you want. I know a lot of people come to this show solely with the idea that they really do want to learn about Hive. They want to know what's going on around the blockchain. They want to get sort of a leg up on what's happening with projects. They want to talk about what they hate, what they don't hate. But hey, the show has evolved, and so have you. So sometimes I know half of you, wish I would never talk about Hive again. So we could do both. We could try. When you poke out the eye, try not to take out your dominant one. Just saying. Oh, I mean, Big Tom, are you expecting me to lose an eye? Because I think, honestly, knowing myself and sort of all of the disasters I get into, it's actually very likely. All considered. So we can also talk a little bit about sort of just the stuff I got going on around the house right now, because many things are on the go as per usual, and some of the plans for this show and up and coming. In the next couple weeks, Danny was here earlier, Coin. He's been working on something called Ether Chest. He's going to come on the show, and we're going to talk a little bit about his sort of his game and his ideas and connecting ETH to Hive and Hive to ETH and finding ways to sort of use services together to create products that people are interested in. I'm going to disregard Fiat keeps saying he's going to come on, and we keep kind of missing each other like ships in the night. But we are going to actually have a time to kind of do some discussion on like DeFi on Hive, and talking a little bit more about, is Hive ready and suited for finance? Yes, no, maybe. What does that look like? And kind of do some talking about that. Probably do some more talking about the VR aspect of Hive, which will be a fun one. And then also Marty. And so many of you guys may have gone to Hive Fest. And if you're not a Hive person, then you won't know what I'm talking about and you won't care. And that's A-okay. But also in the future, Marty B, he is the creator of some really cool apps. So Have You Been Here? Pinmapple. And these are some really cool apps that have to do with travel. And then also Buy Me Berries, which is sort of like, oh, look at this, YouTube, everybody's hanging out. Hey, YouTube, hi. You can't chat because I'm a fucking douchebag. So if you want to chat, head on over to, the Discord or whatever. Or I'm going to fix it next week, I swear. I'm going to lie to your faces every fucking week. But yeah, so we'll have Marty on and we'll talk a little bit about, not Marky and not hi, Marty. We'll talk a little bit about some of his work and his travels and his life and tech in general. And yeah, Marky, if you want to come on and you want to talk a little bit, because I know, Marky last year put together by himself the first Hive hackathon, and he did a ton of work on it. And many of you guys probably either kind of missed it, or, you didn't know what was happening till it was over. And now you use some of the products, like Hive Onboard was actually a hackathon product. And so for many of you guys, Marky's going to be working on a new hackathon, and that's sort of on his own time frame, and he's doing it himself. But my goal is to hopefully get more people kind of excited about it, knowing about it, helping them, and enjoying. And maybe some more cool stuff happening. Clay is here. So now I know Crim is really loud in here. Yeah, I'm always really loud. I'm sorry. You can't not. I'm always loud. And I'm doing my best to kind of keep my voice down. It'll never happen. If it is really out of control, please let me know and I will drag my volume down a little bit. I'll give it my best shot. But listen, I'm a performer and an entertainer, and my microphone is really close because my microphone stand is now actually my camera stand. So when I talk to you and I look at you, it's kind of like I'm yelling at you. This is the bonus of live stream, is I can't spit on you and give you the Rona. But if sound levels are ever weird, throw something in the chat and we'll fix it. So why don't we, now that we're at the halfway point, oh, he's in the laundromat bathroom. Oh, is that delightful? I don't know. But what I'll do is I'll play a quick track. I'll play some music. I was thinking I'll play something a little more down tempo and we'll come back. And then for the second half of the show, you guys can decide where we want to go with this. So we have spent the whole day, we started off talking about science fiction books I love and some of the aesthetics that shaped me and my understanding of what it is to be human. We talked a little bit about robotics, and then we kind of had a meandering discussion about nature in the design of the future. And I know, Inertia's earballs. Inertia just constantly suffers. That's Inertia's lot in life, is every now and again I just get on Inertia's case. P.S. We could talk a little bit about that. One of the things that has come up so often, if you do watch the Hive developers meetings, first of all, wow, good for you, because wow, they are pretty boring, but they're good. They're a good look into sort of how people are thinking about core dev. I am working on making them looking a little nicer. I haven't gotten it all finished yet, but so yeah, I'm going to be working on making those more accessible, because to me, one of the most important things that needs to happen around Hive is just people need more access to everything. Everybody, there's so much going on. There's so many people who are passionate. There's so many people working in the ecosystem that things get missed, and sometimes things happen and people feel left out. And, you can never make that perfect, and you never will make that perfect. But my goal is, where can I volunteer to make things more accessible? So the developers meetings look a little better. They're going to keep improving. But one of the things that came up in the last little bit, yeah, you are like Miles O'Brien, just constantly, it never gets better. You're like, man, Miles, he got shit on. That whole thing about living through the prison in his mind for like 20-some years and getting PTSD and wanting to kill himself, it can't possibly get worse for Miles O'Brien. Wah, wah. Yeah. Yeah. That's a Star Trek joke. And if you don't know what we're talking about, that's okay. Because I'm a fucking nerd. But I was going somewhere with this. So, one of the things that's come up a lot in terms of what does Hive need? What does any open source project need? What does any, successful ecosystem need? Work on documentation. And so a lot of the devs that I do talk to day to day, that I do work with day to day, they are always struggling with our documentation. Our documentation is not awesome. It's missing a ton of stuff. What's there is often wrong. We don't have a lot of great tutorials. We don't have a lot of recipes. We really, honestly, when a developer gets invited to our ecosystem and comes to our ecosystem and says, I get it, I'm sold on Hive, let's fucking do it, and just dives in, the docs are bad. They're bad. They're really fucking bad. And so one of the things, obviously, that has come up is we just desperately need something. And so Ron is saying, if only there was some proposal system to get documentation done. Yes, and interestingly enough, as of just a couple of days ago, there may or may not have been a proposal to go back up. And Inertia may or may not have been thinking about it already. And he may or may not have been nagged by somebody who screams a lot on the radio to put up a new proposal. So I would highly recommend, please fucking go vote for that thing. And now there's hopefully some more coordination going on, and we're going to push that forward. And this, oh gosh, that's a hell of a term there. We're going to push that forward. It's boxing. Hi, Jason. So, is it back? It's not even back. It's new. It's up. It's already happened. As of like yesterday or the day before. Or I don't know anymore because I'm very tired and I have no concept of time. But Inertia, if he would be so good, could fucking shill some shilly shit in chat right now. So if you care about documentation and everything else, I have taken it upon myself to try and... Yeah, I like Julia. Anyone who hasn't voted for Inertia's proposals gets the hose again. Agreed. So, that's something that I am going to try my best to start coordinating some more discussion on, help, support. And the DeFi stuff is also in the back of my head. I'm going to be doing some stuff on that as well. So forget it. Just go vote for your proposal. Now, before we move into the second half of the show, the reason that this has been on my mind is, of course, because Marky has been wanting to work on the next hackathon. And hackathons are really cool and exciting. And part of what you need when somebody comes into an ecosystem and sees, hey, there's a hackathon. Hey, I can win some prizes. Hey, I can build a cool thing. Maybe I'll make my business here. Why is Hive attractive? It turns out that supporting developers with documentation is really fucking important. And right now, it's bad. And I mean, I know this because if we have Coin on, or we have Disregard Fiat on, or we have Marty on, or we talk to anybody that's working in this ecosystem right now, they'll tell you, the documentation is not good. No, Inertia. It was cute. It was cute. One of the people that I was talking to was like, oh, I thought he stopped doing it because we gave him PTSD. There was some real sort of acknowledgement that we are a very difficult group of people to work with. Crim yelling will do that too, man. All right, hold on. Real talk, because I see you YouTubers, I see you on Twitch, I see you all here in the Discord. I can't see you on MSP Waves, but I know you're there. I see all of you dozens of little people watching right now. Let me throw this out there. There is... Yay, there it is. It's on chain now. So Gandalf and I... Okay, then I'll throw Gandalf under the bus. Gandalf and I talk pretty much every day. I love him. I think he's one of my great friends. He's one of my huge influences on the blockchain. He's one of the people that has kind of really inspired me to dig deeper into crypto, to, learn to do more with my coding, to really embrace supporting and, upholding the system. A lot of the beliefs that I have come to in overall crypto, that actually looks like me, Fox, have come from my time on Hive. So people go, oh, you always felt like this because you were in Bitcoin first, or you always felt like this because you were in Bitcoin and ETH first. And I can tell you that's actually not true. I had ETH and Bitcoin. I did. I believed in them. I thought they were cool. Magic internet money and, investment opportunity, future, cool. And that's how we got into the space. But I will say, and a lot of people don't necessarily kind of give Hive this credit, but I'll say it here for anybody that's watching, whether you're Hive related or not, coming into this ecosystem as a content creator and then understanding how it worked gave me an appreciation for node running, gave me an appreciation for why distribution of the ledger matters, gave me an appreciation for why do I want to dig deeper into blockchain tech? And then now that I'm digging deeper into blockchain tech, why am I not jumping deeper into monetary policy? Why am I not digging deeper into social policy? Why am I not digging deeper into, and it's been spiraling through all of that. So if there's one thing that I can thank Hive for, Hive first and foremost is a better understanding of Bitcoin and crypto and this ecosystem, but constantly learning. And I always thought that I was good at that. I always thought lifelong learning is something I think is so important. I always want to learn. I'm a useless sponge for stuff I don't need, but it's valuable to me in my own sort of thought process. Well, I didn't know shit. The crypto sphere has opened me up to so much more, so much bigger. What I thought I was learning is just nothing compared to what's out there. And so if nothing else, it's kind of like the people who say, oh, the Bitcoin rabbit hole. I think the rabbit hole is even bigger than that. So coming back here now, I said I was going to play a track. I said we were going to move into the second half of the show. But I did want to throw it out there that, I'm appreciative that Inertia let me nag him. I'm appreciative that Gandalf exists, and he'll never even hear this, which is amazing. Because he always seems to be around whenever I say nice things about him, and he always hears it, and then I always feel like a dork. But this time he didn't hear any of it, so there you go. All right, let us build a wall here. Let us play a quick track. We'll come back, and then we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. We can continue down the crypto path. There's lots of stuff in Hive to talk about. There is probably a lot going on around the crypto ecosystem that you might have questions or comments about. And if not, then we're going to just keep hanging out together. So, wherever you might be watching, thanks for coming to hang out with me. My name is Crimsonclad. I'm here every Saturday doing this. I am probably going to be branching out to some other times to do kind of like game and variety streaming as well. But the two big passions are what I do here on MSP Waves. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that is this show. It's Cyberbuzz Radio. Here at this time, you can go to mspwaves.com for the full schedule. There are basically live streaming DJs from all around the world who put together a really fucking cool social broadcasting network. If you want to stream on MSP Waves, you can. We have 2 new shows this week, I think. But yeah, and then boom, everybody starts leaving YouTube. You fucks, let me shill. I have to eventually shill. I'll go back to talking shit after. But so it's good to keep in mind that there's lots of other entertainment besides me. If you just want to hang out with me, that's okay too. Thursday nights I talk about metal. I play loud music. Often it goes shit sideways off the rails. And I am looking at potentially maybe like Sundays in the evening doing like gaming and hanging out with you guys. So I don't know. You hope I put good music. No, I never play good music. Everybody hates everything I play. So you can all leave now. Just leave. I'm never going to play good music. Get used to it. Sorry. Oh, Lord. What a thing to say. Listen, good music is subjective. And this week, when it comes to kind of synthwavy stuff, I've been listening to more down-tempo. A lot of the time, my personal preference is often guitar-driven, and kind of tragic music is the norm here. Then leave! I get it. Everybody hates this show. And you know what? And then the people who come to this show for synthwave, they'll be like, that's not synthwavy enough, synthwave. That's not good enough, synthwave. Oh, I don't like it. I can't fucking win. Listen, it is what it is. This is the stuff that makes me happy. So yeah, this week, normally a lot of my fucking witness partner is here. Jeff, hi. I hope you're well. You can let me know after I play a track if you want to come on the air and chat with everybody. I don't know if anybody's heard from you for a while, but it's really great to see you. So we've done a lot of talking. We've talked for an hour straight. I'm going to pick a track. Now, a lot of the time I pick songs that are really like guitar heavy. I pick things that often cross over between synthwave and metal. But this week I've noticed a lot of the stuff that I am playing, especially, oh, sweet baby Jesus. A lot of the stuff that I have been playing absolutely does sort of have a, a more down-tempo, slightly more chill aspect to it. It is not quite as dancey. It's not quite as wild. Maybe it's just because I'm fucking tired. Maybe me and the rest of the universe, we're all feeling the same way. You don't... Hi, I am, thank you. I don't hear anything. Then how did you know I asked if you were well? Oh, solo. Alrighty. I stay until the music starts, then go get coffee. Get over it. Well, Big Tom, you've told me to just not do this show a bunch. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm still here. You can't fucking kill me. Let's see. Let's take a look at what we could do. Maybe something by Arcade High. Yeah, you know what? Let's do a track by a group called Arcade High. It's called In the Dark. My name is Crimsonclad. We got about 45 minutes left in the show. This is Cyberbuzz. And when we come back, maybe we'll continue talking about future design. Maybe we'll continue talking about crypto. I don't know. We'll see where the chat goes. I mean, maybe I'll just drive off every viewer that I've ever had. Ever. No one will come back and it'll just be me, myself, and I. I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. In the Dark on MSP Waves. got a bunch of dead air at the end of the song. Right. There's like 20 minutes of rain. Hey. All right. So now that I'm absolutely hemorrhaging listeners, watchers, users, losers, whatever, welcome back. My name is Crimsonclad. This is, I was going to say it's Full Force Radio, but it's not. It's Cyberbuzz. And on Saturdays, I talk a little bit about crypto, tech, the retro future, whatever you guys want. It's been a hard week. There's a lot going on. And so, oh Lord. And it's ended. Yeah, that's right. I know everybody's happy now. I'm a big fan of Inertia's cat dance gif. It's fantastic. Go cat. But so today we've been meandering from topic to topic, moving from sentence to sentence, but it's okay. I'm entitled. I'm the captain. This is my ship. So it is Cyberbuzz, and we started off the show kind of talking a lot about sort of like good futures, bad future design, what does it look like, the place of nature in the future, because again, Canadians, in a lot of ways, we get to take advantage of this. Like, there's a lot of space in Canada, and a lot of Canada is full of nature that we've never touched and we've never fucked with. And even if we tried really, really hard, there aren't enough of us to tackle the amount of nature that exists. And, you know, even if our population exploded and technology was wild and, you know, our cities grew exponentially, we still have so much land. And I'm not saying it's, never. Oh God, no, Fox, I love you so much, but sometimes, oh my gosh, it's absurd. You know, there are things that you could do called thought exercises. And there are things you can do called turns of phrase, and they're not actually you cannot take every single turn of phrase at a perfect face value. So the reality comes down to is we have a lot of nature, and so for Canadians, we sometimes miss out on the fact that that in the US, it's not quite the same. The US is pretty freaking diverse in terms of nature. But a lot of Middle America, what do we call it? It's the Dust Bowl kind of thing. There's not a lot going on, and you guys have your own areas that don't have people in them, that don't have big cities, and a bulk of your population are in some of these huge cities that are sprawling, tons and tons of people, and nature doesn't super come into play. What I think of as a big Canadian city, and Vancouver, you know, there's so little nature in it now, but at the same time, here's Vancouver, perched on the ocean, surrounded by mountains, with a giant fuck-off park in the middle of the city, and 2 ski slopes, just like that basically just poop out into the city. So for me, my idea of like what a very futuristic and populous city looks like in its interaction with nature is very different than perhaps somebody from the US. And knowing that there are going to be a lot of struggles moving into sort of this future time for resources and things like that, it's going to be interesting. And I'm seeing this a lot. This is a really interesting take that maybe those of you in crypto or people like making stuff who are both really interested in becoming very sort of technologically robust and self-sovereign, but also living harmoniously with nature, are going to be interested in. And that is the idea that blockchain is incredibly unhealthy for the environment. It's kind of a weird and interesting idea in terms of a topic. There are a lot of people out there who say, well, hey, Bitcoin is mining in general. And I know Jeff did a lot of this, Follow BTC News did a lot of this for a long time. Mining in general, there are kind of 2 schools of thought. One is a huge, huge waste of energy. Bad for the environment. And the other is that, well, it's actually conversion of energy into a monetary product. Energy that if you were to use it running an entertainment device or whatever else, it actually would be taking more than it is giving back in terms of crypto mining or running, a blockchain node. So I don't know, have you guys ever thought about this? Do you think this is an argument that's even worth having? Do you even care? Do you think this is sort of an interesting topic? Do you think it's baloney, as Judge Judy would say? Because it's one of those things, every time we have a bull run, if crypto is bad for energy, what are banks? Yeah, Ron, I agree. I mean, we literally run physical bank locations that are big, empty buildings made of marble and, fucking bullshit like that. That we have, 15 people working in, and they're air conditioned all the time, and they're these sort of symbols of wealth and business and whatever. They're fucking useless. Bank headquarters, all of sort of the overhead. The banking system in general is much more wasteful of energy. I would absolutely agree. And I mean, we're not even talking about sort of the same scopes, but there are some really obvious examples of this that we can see. So it is. It's a cool topic. Megan Stuff says it provides opportunity for new energy innovations. Yes! Bang on. This is something that I think about a lot, is bank pens. You can't steal them, those fuckers. I have to admit, that's probably one of the best inventions ever, was the way to keep people from stealing your pen. That chain, or like all the stuff that they do so you just can't take a pen. People that steal my pens are the worst people on the planet. I finally have found a brand of pen that I like. It's not too much of a gel pen. It's not too much of a ballpoint pen. It's fucking awesome. If you steal it from me, I will murder you. It is, would you like to, it's the Papermate Profile. This thing is amazing. If you take this pen, when I get it back, I'm going to punch it through your skull. That's a very small aside that has nothing to do with nothing from Crimsonclad. Take my pen and I will put it through your eyeball. But yeah, Darcycle's talking about dedicated cooling systems and backups. Megan Stuff's talking about new energy storage check and recycling of waste resources locally to produce more power for mining efforts. Yes, this to me is one of those things. We've always talked about sort of necessity being the mother of invention. Well, there is that. But it's not just necessity that is the mother of invention. It is, can I make money? Can I make money? So all of a sudden, I know I can make money mining. I'm really interested in node running, in crypto in general. I want to make sure that I have access to my money. There's a direct influence on my life. This is very important. All of a sudden, now this is fucking important. And so what we're going to start seeing is people who maybe can't afford, who couldn't necessarily afford to mine on the scale that it is now. Because I don't know if you guys have seen, say, like Bitcoin mining farms or some of the bigger sort of server mining rigs. There are literally people going out and like making like water-cooled gas mining rigs out in the forest. There are crazy things happening right now. And so one of the things that's going to happen is people are obviously going to compete to find ways to do this more cost effectively. They're going to find, they want that money. They want to run nodes. They want to do it for as cheap as possible, and they want to do it with the least impact possible. And all of a sudden, and there's just this politician-powered mining rigs. Yeah, hot air for fucking the rest of your life, right? But this is a fascinating idea, is, hey, here's all this shit that's happening from mining. What can I do with it? Can I sell the waste for more money? Can I find a way to do it more cheaply? Can I find a way to use the land that I own? Or can I buy into a share? Or what are some inventions that are going to come specifically, not because people care about not because people care about the environment so much, but that they are looking at getting into this and making it more accessible, but mostly for themselves. And I think this is going to be a fascinating time for this. Absolutely fascinating time. Big Tom says we should convert the politicians into steam. Are you suggesting we burn politicians for fuel? That's kind of what I think the chat is getting at here. In terms of, we want to mine crypto, we want to run crypto nodes, so let's start burning politicians. I'm going to get canceled. Guys, I'm going to get kicked off of YouTube and Twitch. It's going to happen. I'm going to get canceled for this topic, probably. But yeah, there's certainly some cool stuff coming down the pipe, and it all ties back in. So I guess that's what today's show is about, is crypto and nature in the future, and our relationship with it, for sure. But I do think, oh, you were just thinking of pressing them hydraulically. Like you squish them and then all the gas just comes out at once and you capture it and they're flat and gone. I like it. I like this. Thinking for sure. But yeah, Making Stuff is basically saying, I think a lot of the crypto holders and miners will be backyard energy pioneers. Totally. And that to me is really fascinating. And that's kind of the heart of crypto, isn't it? Is all of us are trying to find ways to balance this disruptive tech with our lives. We want to get some money. We want to make some fucking money. We want to know that down the road, what we're doing now is good for our own futures. We want to explore this tech. We want to protect our voices. We want to move more towards self-sovereignty. And everything that we talk about on this show, all of it kind of comes back to the same core aspects of self-sovereignty. It really does. It's the reason that we're interested in crypto. It's the reason we're interested in Hive. It's the reason, people like Making Stuff are trying to get their homestead together. We all just want to do the best we can for ourselves, and we want to move towards a future that is hopefully the good space and not the bad space, right? Totally. All right, so now that everybody's fucking in chat, they're doing it, I'm doing it, everybody's fuck, we can probably Mosi on a little forward. I was going to ask Marky if you wanted to talk a little bit about the hackathon or about Hive, but he fucking pieced on us. And so what else? I don't think you could get canceled for burning politicians, but you can get canceled for disrespecting pronouns. You know what? I have thoughts about this. At the end of the day, if you say, hey, these are my pronouns, do you mind using them? I will. That's cool. Okay. Just don't be a douche about it. That's all. I mean, if you're a dick, I'm gonna treat you like you're being a dick. And if you're not a dick, then I'm gonna be whatever you want, man. That's cool. I respect that. If you're gonna be nice to me, I'm gonna be nice to you. But I guess, yeah, the world is changing. And I'm pretty sure that even if I did choose to get monetized, which I have, I've certainly talked about often enough, and people are always asking me, sell your merch, get your store up, put ads on your videos. Well, no, I don't think I'm ever going to do that. I say fuck a lot. Like I said, I got called out earlier this week on Twitter for having a filthy mouth. Apparently fuck is just the worst thing you can say. Fuckity fuck, fuckity fuck, shit, fuck. So, I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to take those lumps. Crypto, hopefully I'll make enough bank on crypto to make up for the lost revenues, because fuck. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, Making Stuff, I have this thought that we will not live in a dystopic hell, but we will have replicators and flying cars and whatnot. Now, flying cars to me is a strange thing. I'm not sure how I feel about flying cars. Flying cars to me are the coolest fucking aesthetic, but I don't 100% know that they're super logical in a lot of ways. Now, I live in a city that probably has some of the worst traffic in the world. So some of you guys are going to have different, Lenny Bruce's The 7 Words You Cannot Say. Yeah, I should pull that up and I should just say them a whole bunch of times and see what happens. I've gotten some strikes on Twitch. I've definitely had some strikes on YouTube, but I haven't lost any videos yet. I will say, we talked about this a little bit on some of the other shows, and people have been noticing it, especially as of yesterday. There have been some big purges as of late. And so if I flip over here and I take a look over on the YouTube, my subscribers have dropped by, I was just under 100 there for a little while. I'm back down to 71. I've gotten another one. But the reality is I dropped overnight about 30 subscribers. So there are some wild purges out there going on right now. And then also Twitter, for many of you guys that kind of hang out and see me on the Twitter or watch on the Twitter, I lost 720 followers. So, I mean, they don't mean anything. These are completely manipulated numbers on completely arbitrary manipulated media. But I do think it's an interesting look at when it are these sort of big numbers, when it is something like this, because 700 for somebody who's already in millions of subscribers, that's nothing. That means nothing. Absolutely. But I mean, I only had I had 2,200 followers on Twitter. That's almost half of my entire following. So to me, that's really fascinating. That is a perfect example for people who are using these media and going, nah, it probably doesn't matter. Nah, it's probably fine. That's a great reminder that this is like Whose Line? The points are made up and nothing matters. And you kind of have to keep that as part of your media literacy training, because we don't get a lot of media literacy training. And especially nowadays, right? Especially nowadays, there is this incredible emphasis. Hey, DickTube, you may not be listening. And if you are, hi. And if you are, I'm going to ruin your name, and I apologize in advance. But I like the two U's, so I'm going to call you Tube. I'm going to put some emphasis on the wrong syllable. Is it Dieke? This is, don't worry, everybody goes through this. This is your, this is your being enveloped into the Crimsonclad family, is I completely butcher your name on air. I do terrible, terrible things. Welcome, Tube. Dickie. It means big nerd. You're amazing. Perfect. You're going to fit real good here, my friend. So, big old nerd. That's me. That's you. That's all of you. We've been on a meandering topic today about crypto shaping our future, and talking a little bit about sort of the aesthetic of the future and where nature fits into it. And we just kind of meandered onto the topic of followers. Now, we know, I know, everybody watching this show knows that followers are not the be-all end-all. You're probably not on crypto-centric social media because you give a true shit about followers in terms of the number. You probably know, having been around social media, but also having been in or exposed to social media in the before times, that follower numbers now mean very little. They really, really do. And you also know that you're not in control of those numbers. You can work really hard and never kind of gain a following. You can pay a couple bucks and subscribe, 5,000 people on Instagram. Now, the caveat is, if you're somebody who is fucking busting their tail to match up to those social media algorithms and build your, user base, you're awesome. Good work. Not putting you down. But it's so far outside of your control. One of the things that I think is very interesting is people, especially younger people now, are growing up believing so strongly in these numbers, believing that these numbers are an unquestionable measure of value. This is fascinating and terrifying. This is a group of people, whether young or not, maybe it's their industry, maybe it's, because they're in advertising, maybe they're working for their business, maybe they're working for themselves, but especially younger people, you are absolutely defined and uplifted and given value by the number of followers that you have. And so when I kind of look at it now, and I look at it and I'm like, that stings. I wonder what I did. It's not a big deal. But I do think when you look at, say, YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, I'm not on Instagram. I don't get it. I don't know. When you look at those numbers and you know that people have built up businesses or self-worth around those numbers, it's a good reminder that can you and should you be building on a foundation that you have no control over. And so lots of you guys that come to Hive or, that are learning a lot about social media, maybe through your crypto journey, maybe through your tech journey, you're starting to see that you cannot build a foundation for whatever it is that you want to build on something that you have no control over and that is potentially unstable. And for a lot of people yesterday, however you feel about the Trump thing, and we will try not to stick on it too long. However you feel about the Trump thing, I truly believe that a lot of people yesterday saw kind of, if you want to look at how social media, oh God, kitty girl, truth. If you want to kind of look at how most people in the world view social media as on this platform raised up. Yesterday, I honest to God believe that a lot of people essentially saw somebody come along and just kick one of the legs of that platform, that foundation of why social media is important, just came along and knocked it right out from underneath there. It's going to be an interesting time from here on out. Okay, so we've got a half an hour, a little bit less than half an hour left in the show. So I'm going to play one more track. I'm going to give us a bit of a palate cleanser. And then for the last little bit of the show, we can talk about whatever you guys want. Marky fucking dipped again. I thought he came back and I was like, yes, okay, I'll drag Marky in. No dice. He dipped again. So if one of you guys wants to come on and chat, or one of you guys wants to kind of go down a specific road or a topic, we can do that. If you have a question that you really have a burning question about Hive or something else that you want me to address, we can do that. Or if you want me to continue all of Congress versus a dude whose name is Mark. Marky, hey Marky. And if not, then I can keep ad-libbing off some of the topics that I want to talk about and kind of continue down on this interesting but weird but fun and slightly scary look at a future that's ahead of us. We could do that. So let me see what else I got in my big list of musics today. I was thinking of maybe playing some Dance with the Dead. That's got more guitars. That's a little more upbeat. Or possibly some Occam's Laser called The Perfect System, because I have been thinking very strongly around a lot of this. What is the perfect system? What is crypto going to do for us? What is technology that we need to see? Who is Mark? Everybody's Marky, obviously. If you've been around the Hive blockchain at any point, everyone's Mark. Literally every person. So maybe we do some Dance with the Dead. And then maybe we can close out with Occam's Laser, or maybe vice versa. Maybe I can play sort of some really down-tempo kind of ambient Occam's Laser, and then come back and close it out with some Dance with the Dead. Whichever. We'll figure it out. Doesn't matter which you want anyways. The music is torture, and we lose everybody. And Crim is the worst DJ in all of history. It's fine. It's fine. And then, one of the other things that I maybe will do for the end of the show is like I said, I have really kind of been playing around with Tilt Brush a lot. And one of the things that Hive's birthday is coming up. One of the things that I do want to do is maybe get your guys' suggestions on something to work on in Tilt Brush, and something that I can kind of bring up every show. I kind of do a check-in with you guys and create something using Tilt Brush. And if you don't know what Tilt Brush is a VR painting program. Now, I suspect that I will probably start using something a little different in the future. There are more programs being developed all the time. Tilt Brush is owned by Google. Some of the support for it has been removed, and some of the bigwigs at their company have moved to do more AR stuff. Just about the same age as CV. I'm missing what the context there. So that's something that I thought maybe I would ask you guys about too, because with the goal being that one of these days I'll just pop on the headset and then I will stream out and we can walk around inside that painting. We can explore it together. If you've never seen what VR painting looks like, if you've never seen sort of like this idea of painting in free space in 3D, that's really cool because it's infinitely, Hive and CV, gotcha. It's infinitely sizable and scalable, and you can move around it freely, which is really interesting, because what a lot of crypto painters and VR painters do is they will paint something that seems small, something that can be held in your hands. And then when you scale it upwards and you move inside, there's a whole world encapsulated inside. And there's a spatial depth to painting, which is fucking wild. That's fucking wild. So maybe that's something. Yeah, it does look pretty cool. Oh, hey, Norma. Okay. Yes, we were talking. Hive just banned Trump too. Oh, yeah? Oh, Lordy. So let's just see. Let's see if there is any tilt brush gifts. Not quite. No, I thought there might be one in here. But like, tilt brush, you could basically paint 3D models, environments, paintings. You could paint in 2D, but move them around, scale them infinitely, walk around inside them and experience them, which is really cool. So I thought maybe we would choose before the end of the show, which is coming real quick, something that I can work on over the next couple weeks as I'm kind of developing some of these skills, and something to share with you guys. And then as we get a little bit forward and further in the progress, I could share it with you on the show. We can walk around in it together. We can draw things in it together and kind of have a long running project that is ours, that we just dedicate a little bit of time to each week and go from there. So like I said, I was going to try and sneak in one more track and then we'll come back. So for those of you who are just joining, hi, thank you. For those of you who are leaving, well, fuck you too, but thanks for coming anyhow. I'm Crimsonclad. This is Cyberbuzz, and today we've been talking about crypto and nature and the future, and we've been having a really like down, decompressed chat because the world's pretty fucking wild right now. It's been a great day. It's been a lot of good topics. You can always find this video later on YouTube if you want, and I believe you can watch the replay on Twitch for a while. I'm working with Vim a lot now too, so I am probably going to start keeping videos on Vim? Question mark? I don't know. We'll figure it out. You guys are here. I'm here. Crim, stop yelling at you. Okay. All right. So when Crimsonag proposal. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. So let's take a quick peek. Let's do some Dance with the Dead. Why not? I had a bunch of stuff that was tied into sort of what's happened this week. I was thinking the Perfect System, Pursuer, Beacon of Light. No, we're going to do a track called Salem. By Dance with the Dead. It's off an album called Love to Death. It's gooder, and we will probably have enough time to chat for a little bit. We'll decide if we play any more music. Doesn't matter. This is Cyberbuzz. If you want to come hang out with me on Saturdays, you should. If you want to come on the show and talk with me, you should. If you make a cool thing, whether it's synthwave music or blockchain dApps, dude, let's have some fun. So let's play some music, and we'll come back and say goodbye before everything kind of wraps up. There are more shows today, so if you want to know what's on, you can go to mspwaves.com/schedule to see what might tickle your fancy. Dance of the Dead, some of my favorite shred wave, if you want to call it. Guitars, synthwave, great fucking tracks. Really nice guys. Every time I've gotten to talk with them, every time I've gotten to hang out with them, every time I get to see them play live, they're fucking cool. It's cool, they're cool, you're cool. Hey, so we're coming up towards the end of the show. And so while that music was playing, if you are in the Discord, I was sharing a bunch of GIFs of people's animated paintings that they have created inside in a tilt brush environment. There's some really cool stuff. There's some really wave. Yeah, what does that even look like? You know what? You know who probably makes wave? Probably Swoop. If you gave Swoop some clips of like ocean waves, he would probably make you some wave. I think you should challenge him to do that. So listen, we're coming up towards the end of the show. I'm not 100% sure, and Ron can probably corroborate whether or not Ag will be up next today. But so one of the things that actually is really quite fun and also scary and interesting, since we do sometimes talk about AI stuff here on the show, Inertia has created a fun new waifu. Yes, well, you know, it's very... Is it maybe? You're never quite sure. It's a mystery. So one of the things that Inertia has done for Banjo is given him a fun new command, and it is terrifying but really interesting. And it is essentially an AI voice generator, which I think is really really interesting. But it is essentially a bunch of different syllables from recognizable or celebrity or, hey, Slimy, sup, I saw you the other night. What a name, Slimy One. Hey, Slimy One. Slimy. Their API is being slammed, though. Yeah, so probably a lot of people are starting to discover this. But it's a really fascinating thing, and Inertia's got a couple clips, and if you've got some Inertia, I'll actually play them. But what it does is it essentially has a giant library of syllabic sounds from, you know, popular... Stop! What is this? I don't even know what that means. When Crimsonclad proposal. You know, that cat is very appropriate. That cat is from here in Vancouver. That cat is a Canadian. That cat is a Canadian fucking treasure. If you are a meme appreciator, and if you're watching somewhere that you can't see the pictures in chat, I apologize, YouTube. They've got the cat sitting at the table being like, nah, that cat's a Canadian. I just want you to know that cat and I are from the same place. We're basically besties, actually. But so here's another one of those things. So we've talked about on this show how AI, very fucking cool, very fucking scary. We've talked about that. But we've also talked about how deepfakes, how good they are getting. And of course, how they're basically powered by people who have a lot of audio and visual content available. So I've always kind of, a small part of me is like, do I want to put this many videos out there? Knowing that I am essentially probably already feeding some neural net to create another Crim. A better, faster, stronger, more obedient Crim. Which, I'll tell you, that's not my bag so much, that last bit. But at the same time, there's some really, really interesting but also terrifying stuff that's happening. And so we've seen a lot of the deepfakes. We've seen a lot of the reface apps. We've seen a lot of the... We've seen a lot of the stuff that has happened on, like, the lowest level. Yes, there you go. What is that? That's like fucking Lesnar with his dick sword on his chest, but it's got Elon Musk's face on it. That's terrifying and also amazing. It's the most natural hair Elon Musk has ever had in his life. But all joking aside, it's a really interesting thing, and we only see what is sort of the consumer version of it. We get to see the app version. We get to see what's actually being trained out there, and its potential for disinformation is terrifying. But the thing that Inertia's got is he has connected to an API, which is basically libraries full of syllables spoken by voices that you know. Donald Trump, Obama, Gilbert Gottfried, Leonard Nimoy, just big libraries of syllables. B, S, G, the building blocks of language. And so now you can use Banjo, you can use a command with Banjo, and you can ask it to say something in a voice, and it will pull on this API, and Banjo will kind of pop out Banjo will pop out an audio file of whatever you asked it to say, but in the voice, and put together by this neural net, this AI library, to build a completely fake audio track. And so, what is this? I don't know what SpongeBob says, so I'm going to press play because it's like 20 seconds long. What is this? What's SpongeBob going to say if I click on this, Inertia? That's the real question.
Hey, by the way, you know I sit on the stand, and at Get High, I got hairy legs that turn that turn blonde in the sun, and the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. Then look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
So that's the Biden hairy legs stuff. If you don't know what you just listened to, I apologize for nothing. So there you go. That is a transcription of that bizarre Biden pool hairy leg roach story dropped into this AI. In the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants. Now, I have to admit, the Gilbert Gottfried one is hilarious. And because it is basically connected up syllables, it all kind of comes out like a little mush mouth. Everything's a little bit like SpongeBob is really drunk. But it is hilarious, and this is really fun. So this is another thing that Inertia's done. He's threw it together. But weirder, please. Oh, yeah. Tube. Tube's a bit of a freak. But yeah, right? Shit! Now, some of you guys might remember, there was actually, for a while, there was somebody that was doing these videos, and this has been really popular. You find them on YouTube all the time. It's basically where you take, say, footage of a speech by Obama, or one that I remember is, like, I think it was George W. Bush, and they clipped a bunch of his words, like, out of speeches, and they put them together, and then they, like, song lyrics. I remember, like, Sunday, Bloody Sunday by George W. Bush. So this has always been a thing. But of course, it was never very convincing, because when you're clipping words out of the middle of a speech, you're getting different inflections, you're getting different context, and it's very hard to build sort of a flow that is believable. And of course, in a lot of cases, then you also get, you also do get the video that goes along with it, which is a bunch of jump cuts. But all of a sudden, here we are, and we now have a library of syllables. And that's totally different, because you don't get a lot of the same inflection and whatnot. Yeah, here's a Gilbert Gottfried. Perfect. I'm going to click on it, not knowing what it is. Maybe bad, maybe good.
What do you call it when a group of apes starts a company?
Oh God, this is a dad joke. What do you get? What do you call it when a group of apes starts a company?
It's called a monkey business, you moron.
It's called a monkey business. That's terrible. That's bad, and you should feel bad. Whew. But that's Gilbert Gottfried. You could share that with anyone, and they would be like, yep, that's Gilbert Gottfried. It's not a question. People are like, okay, fair enough. There he is. And, well, it's obviously not great at dictatorial skills. The enunciation is a bit of a fail. It is spectacularly terrifying and fascinating and interesting. So here you go. Here's another fun dystopian usage of AI libraries that you can just connect to right now and use for fun shit. We talked about Talk to Transformer on this show before, and some of the funny things that come out of it, because it is always funny. It's always funny when an AI fails, because that's what we like to see. We like to see these really advanced technologies do dumb things. We don't want to think about them, Skynet activating and them quite literally ripping our skulls out of our nostrils and then beating us to death with our own skulls. We don't want to think about that part. We don't look at that part. What we want is for robots to fall down, because that's funny, or dance, because that's cool, or or make fun of silly jokes told by Gilbert Gottfried. But this will be really interesting because obviously text-to-speech services have always been a little problematic. And especially for people who have limited forms of communication or whatever the case may be, whether they're listening or speaking, that's a thing that access, will be massively improved by. And for a lot of our sort of interface design, when you think about talking to, and I know many of you guys are not into this, and I personally am not, but let's just talk about it for ease of use. Things like Alexa, things like Home Assistants, things like that. And actually even Clay's job is to help provide listening and speaking services to people who can't do it themselves. And so accessibility is a really fascinating use for this. But of course, then you get people like us. You get people like us who are full of fucks. We are full of fucks and we're going to use it to do terrible things with. That's the future. Is the good and the bad and the funny in between. So I'm just keeping an eye on the time. We don't have very much left. We don't have enough left for another track. See, here's Fox going, no, Amazon Alexa. But, I personally don't use it. I've already turned off all of the MeshNet access to my Amazon devices. I only have a couple. I will say that maybe is something that just before the end of the show, for those of you who are just coming back from fake newsing, for those of you who are coming, going, oh, Draco's just jumped in. That's something that if you haven't done yet, if you have an Amazon device, whether it's a tablet, whether it's one of the little like Echoes or Pebbles or whatever, they are going to be working on Sidewalk. They're going to be rolling out Sidewalk very, very soon. And that is a huge interconnected Amazon-based mesh network. And what it means is if your internet connection is out, you can borrow from other Amazon devices around you through their internet connection. And eventually they will not need the internet at all. There is such a high saturation of Amazon devices that they will be able to create their own mesh network. If you've ever thought about why it's so easy and so cheap to just get a Pebble or, a tablet or, one of their Kindles with Alexa for $20 in a sale, this is why. So in the chat before I leave today, I will drop some information on how to turn this off if you do not want to opt in. I certainly think this is going to be interesting. Could be used for good. Of course, for a lot of us here, we are really cognizant of OPSEC. We're really, we always want to look at consensual technological involvement. If you have an Amazon device, it might be worth it for you to take a look at. But we can talk a little bit more about that. Make AI rappers speak with crazy flows. Yeah, we can. We can, Deke, for sure. So as I'm coming up to the end of the show, I'm just finishing up here. We can talk a little bit more about this going on. Thanks for the great chat today. We spent a bunch of time talking about the future and future aesthetics. We talked about nature. We talked about tech. We talked about crypto. We talked about free speech. I don't know. For a while there, I was just ranting about robots from the 80s. It was a good one. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. I'll be back next Saturday. Otherwise, the next time that you can see me here on the waves will be on Thursday night for Full Force Radio, Heavy Metal and Sass. Otherwise, Aggroed is up next. You'll be able to hang out for that show. You can check out the full schedule at mspwaves.com. But that's it. I am done. Bye.